It is known that the world fell, and that most people in it died. The dead will not suffer the hardships of the terrible world which remains. Those born into this hell have no remembrance of anything else. Those who survived, those are the truly broken.
Max. He's been through some serious shit. And more is about to pile on top of the poor bastard. Welcome to MAT5 Reviews, and today we'll be speeding through the post-apocalyptic wastelands, beating the snot out of some war boys, and blowing shit up in the 2015 game Mad Max. Now I have to admit, I watched the first two films within the last year. I'm not a fan of them, especially the first one, but when I saw Fury Road, I was absolutely blown away. Best action movie since The Raid. So after that amazing experience, I just had to check out the game, so let's do this. Ganged up on, robbed of everything, and left for dead, which is surprisingly similar to Fury Road's opening scene. And after a brutal semi-revenge which still results in leaving Max with absolutely nothing, he eventually comes across Chumbucket, a hunchback blackfinger / mechanic with the aspirations of creating the most powerful vehicle in the wasteland. Together they team up, hesitantly, so Max can extract his revenge on the war boys of Gastown, while also helping the Hunchback to build an epic vehicle in the form of the magnum opus. Chumbucket also acts as your companion for the entire game. So story-wise, Mad Max is easy to follow and understand. The plot may be reused and too simple for some, but to be honest, in a post-apocalyptic world where cars rule, there may not be a lot to work with, but if there's ever a day for a AAA masterpiece of a Mad Max story, I'll be bloody impressed. I think the characters are a big highlight in Mad Max. Everybody in this universe is so wacky and unique with outrageous get-ups and even more outrageous personalities. Plus the Aussie accents really fit in well. Maybe us Aussies just sound naturally crazy. Max is a troubled soul. Slight spoiler alert if you don't know the story, but his family was killed in the first film, and ever since then he's been battling his inner demons ever since, and is nowhere near like the man he used to be. Unstable and unpredictable, but he's good at heart, and that's why we love this character, and he's no different here. In fact, I find this Max more interesting than in Fury Road. Now let's get to the good stuff, and what will either make you love or hate Mad Max? The gameplay, which is a combination of on-foot hand-to-hand combat, scavenging and exploration, and of course, open-world vehicular combat. This world is gritty and brutal at heart, but the landscape is just beautiful and a real treat to explore, ranging from hot sandy dunes to rocky mountain areas, and even an area that's what's left of a dried up sea, where rock-hard coral and huge tanker-sized ships remain stranded high and dry. Think of a post-apocalyptic Red Dead Redemption, but with cars instead of horses, and with even more crazy bastards. Every structure in this game is uniquely set up, and some of them are marvelous creations, all made from junk and scraps found in the wasteland. Driving around this world felt so much like playing another fantastic series, Motorstorm, blazing around these rocky, sandy environments with the wind whizzing past you, and the explosions look spectacular. The magnum opus is your killing machine, which can be upgraded over the course of the game's story and by doing side missions, which are then bought using scrap metal, which is the world's currency. Upgrades improve your vehicle's stats while also looking badass. You can also add defense and offensive items to your vehicle, and eventually you'll end up with 4 really useful weapons at Max's and Chumbucket's disposal. My personal favourite weapon is the harpoon, which can be used to pull down certain structures and gates. It can even be used to pull enemy vehicles to pieces. I also thoroughly enjoyed slingshotting enemies and dragging them around behind the car, Wild West style. At first, the vehicle handling can take some getting used to, as it feels quite heavy to handle, but as you upgrade the Opus it will get a lot better, but this doesn't apply to the rest of the vehicles in the game. I was actually surprised when I first managed to harpoon a warboy out of his car and take it for myself, GTA style. You can then take it back to your stronghold and add it to your car collection. They may not be customizable, but being being able to collect every vehicle in the game for personal use is pretty bloody awesome. But where are the bloody wall rigs? Seriously, I was hoping for some awesome semi-truck battles in this game, but they're nowhere to be found. Major disappointment. Anyways, despite this, vehicular combat is intense and looks awesome. Being able to ram with your spike-covered tires, burn them to death with your side burners, shoot their gas tanks with your shotgun, and more, to render their vehicle useless or to blow them up in spectacular fashion. They nailed the look and feel of the car combat perfectly, and will make you feel like the biggest badass in the wasteland. Well, once you've earned a few decent upgrades anyway. One thing that did carry over from Fury Road is that rarely every now and then a massive storm sweeps the land, and you will shit yourself when you see it sweeping right towards you like a bloody avalanche. The storm is loud, blinding, frightening, and extremely dangerous, leaving you with only two options: run and hide with your tail between your legs, or you can man up and battle the elements, and chase down scrap boxes that are carried around by the gale force winds for that extra bit of currency in your back pocket. The game also features fast travel to certain landmarks in the game, which makes getting around a lot more fluid. However, this option is not available during a bloody storm. So when you're not having fun just kicking up dirt at high speeds, you will be eagle-eyeing the environment from hot air balloons, scouting camps, destroying scarecrows, taking out convoys, deactivating landmines, scavenging locations for scrap and upgrades, beating the shit out of people, and much, much more. Since ammo is uncommon, the shotgun is mainly only used as a last resort, but don't worry because Max doesn't mind getting his hands dirty. Hand-to-hand combat follows along the same lines of games such as the Assassin's Creed series, and I assume the Batman games, but I've never actually played them, in which you're surrounded by a countless number of enemies, countering and parrying incoming attacks, and retaliating with your fists, shotgun, shivs, or random melee weapons. Combat is technically simple, one button to counter, one button to attack, but not only can the Magnum Opus be upgraded, but Max can be as well, along with new fighting skills by leveling up and spending scrap. As well as this, you will also earn Griffer tokens. These can be used by visiting Griffer, a strange witch doctor type character, which helps Max upgrade some stats in exchange for Griffer tokens. Strange, I know. Eventually you will end up with a rage mode, some finishing moves, and shiv opportunities, which is a one-hit kill. Sure, with this the combat is still pretty simple, but when you have over a dozen enemies with different types thrown into the mix, the fight can get very stressful indeed. Enemies range from normal grunts to fast little golem guys to shield-wielding warboys, so there's a decent variety that can really complicate things in a fight. Health can be replenished in a few different ways by either drinking water, eating, or visiting an upgraded stronghold. You can collect water in a canteen to use at any time, and food can be found scattered around in dog cans, or you can hunt down a delicious rat or lizard, or go all the way and get into some tasty maggots. Alright, I know that it's bullshit that food and drink can heal you, but at least in the context of a Mad Max game, it feels just that bit more justified. There are 4 territories in the game that feature 4 strongholds. These are home bases for you to return to, which you can upgrade with supplies found in the wasteland to give you added resources. You can also choose a car from your collection and accept missions. Each territory contains a certain number of side activities which you can complete to help that stronghold take back their territory, but unfortunately this is where the cracks start to slowly creep in. The side activities in each territory are exactly the same, and in order to unlock certain upgrades to your car and stronghold is to do most of these activities. That means you need to take down scarecrows, convoys, camps, minefields, and sniper towers in 4 different territories, with 3 of them being quite large. This is when the game does unfortunately become very, very repetitive, and even the story missions can't save you because most of the time it's just more of the same you've been doing in all of the side missions. Now personally, I did find this a bit grindy and repetitive at times, but the gameplay was just so entertaining, the driving looks and feels fantastic, the combat is energetic, explosive and brutal. I just never really got sick of doing it. But then again, this kind of repetition won't be for everyone. But if you've enjoyed games such as Far Cry, Just Cause and the Assassin's Creed series, then you should be fine with it. Other issues I had with the game is the bugs and glitches. As I played more of the game, I ran into intrusive framerate problems and sound cutouts every now and then, which was really strange because I didn't experience them earlier in the game. The camera, while being very stylish when highlighting cars exploding into flames, it can be really intrusive, especially if you're trying to stay on the road or in some kind of death race, as it just takes control of the camera away from you. Also, fighting in closed spaces can obscure enemies from your sight, so most of the time you can never see their attack coming. I also had enemies glitch into walls, and I've even experienced the touchpad glitch, in which pressing the touchpad on the PS4 controller doesn't bring up the map, but luckily there is an easy couple of fixes on the internet which did solve the problem. And since I did grind my way through all of these side activities before I finished the story, and I did have most of the best upgrades, I found the end game to be too easy in the end, and the end boss is quick, easy, and ultimately unsatisfying, but gosh, it was a sad ending. So in the end, Mad Max blew my expectations out of the window. The game looks and feels fantastic. It's a joy to explore the wasteland in a blazing fast V8, and I just love blowing shit up, really. Unfortunately, the repetitious nature of the game will turn certain people off, and there are a fair few interrupting bugs and glitches every now and then that just try to spoil your fun. So I reward Mad Max with a bloody good 8 out of 10. Yes, it has some intrusive bugs and glitches and is repetitive in nature, but I just had so much fun playing Mad Max, and I don't regret playing it one bit. Sure, it may not be Game of the Year or anything, but it can be one hell of a fun ride and gives you plenty of content to keep you busy for hours on end. If you like the idea of an open world motorstorm with Assassin's Creed style combat, blowing shit up Just Cause while scouting environments like in Far Cry and in a huge environment like Red Dead Redemption, then this game is a must for you. Otherwise, you might have to look elsewhere, but I know for a fact I will be leaving you to eat my dust and eventually die of dehydration. Hey, it's a beautiful world! Thank you very much guys for watching my review of Mad Max. If you liked this review, don't forget to check out these other great videos, and I hope to see you subscribe and return to M85 Reviews.